Hello, sir. Good evening, I guess. It's
Yeah,
obviously
look,
dark now.
it is getting dark now. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just gonna get colder and darker.
Well, it's funny you say that because that seems to be a lot of the projection that the Institute of Leadership is stating in their new Leading into the Future report. I'm starting to read these futurist projections and looking ahead into 2026, and darkness seems to be an overall prediction in a great number of areas and sectors.
It is indeed. It is indeed. We are, of course, I say, of course, we're talking about a report that was published by the Institute of Leadership earlier this month called Leading into the Future, which I guess is I don't know, I suppose it's an analysis of leadership opinion and trends and experiences now and in late 2025, and I kind of look forward to what people are feeling like in 2026. And you're absolutely right.
It's
It's
a little, I mean, I wouldn't say ominous. I mean, there's some obvious things here, and there's
yeah.
some things we all need to be prepared for. I have a question though, and just for those of us who aren't familiar, what is the Institute of Leadership?
So it's a membership organization based here in the UK, although it has members worldwide. I suppose, its mission is to advance the science and art of productive, constructive, informative leadership. In all
Okay,
contexts. In for-profit
okay,
world, non-profit world, and it does so as you would expect any membership-led organization. It does so through training, development, and the like. So yeah,
okay.
it's a pretty big beast actually. The IOL. Well, I think it's sort of 20, 30,000 members worldwide.
Oh, wow. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Interesting you say that. So, what I liked about this report was that there was some data in it about not only the current state of the respondents' organizations and practices, but also what they projected moving forward. As we are always true to data, I noticed you mentioned 20 or 30,000 members. Their data is only from 350 respondents. So, like
Is
all
that
of us,
right? Right.
we're all
Yeah.
struggling to get people to take surveys. So I give them some, I have empathy in that area, that no matter how many members you have, you're going to get, these days, get a
Yeah.
very small sample size. But I appreciate they call this a
Mm.
temperature check of where we are, what's coming. And I think for the nonprofit sector, for the association sector, it gave me confidence in that the things that we are chewing on and working with and struggling
Mm.
around
Hmm.
are the same things that are happening in other sectors around the globe. We're talking about AI and technology. We're talking about change and change management in general. We're talking about human, the talent shift and workforce engagement. So there really was a lot of synergy with the conversations that we have over
Yeah.
on this side of it all. And again, I don't know anything about this group. I think their mission is obviously quite inspiring, and I do have one thing to challenge them and you on. I don't know if you took issue with this as well. Can I jump in, or did you want to give me your
Jump
overview of
in.
the report?
Jump in. You haven't stopped.
Hold on, let me take a breath. Well, I haven't seen you in a little while, so I was excited to talk about this report.
Yeah.
But
No. No. Go for it.
okay,
Go for it.
so there was a whole section of the report around decision making and informing what informs your decision making. And I thought it was interesting. This was a multiple choice question, and none of them were what I thought they would be. And so I'm on what page am I on here? I'm on page 5 of the 7-page
Yeah.
report. So again, if
Yeah.
you're clicking on this link in the comments or in the show
Mm-hmm.
notes, it's not a long report. You can dive in, you can get some
Oh
snippets.
yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's informing your decisions right now? And the number one response was 79% was self-reflection.
Yeah. You
And
don't have
you
to
might just
challenge me
not,
on it. I agree. I know where you're coming from with this. Go on.
maybe I'm just too, I don't know, rigid. I don't, maybe I'm not, checking my tarot cards and like, testing my spirits and my emotions before decisions, but this felt a little wishy-washy. Self-reflection. What does that even
Right.
mean?
Well, I mean, I would take that to mean, well, it would help if they explained what they meant by self-reflection in this
Yeah.
context. I would take it to mean self-awareness, emotional intelligence. I would take it to mean,
Data, by the way, information and data was not even an option.
yeah, that's weird, isn't it? It's weird because neither is sort of, yeah, there's no kind of external perspective either. It's,
No, I mean, they have long-term perspective, risk management, stakeholder considerations. Those are the lowest three on the scoring.
yeah,
Maybe I
that,
just misread this wrong. Maybe I just thought it was more. I didn't get it. That was the one area of the report that I didn't get, and I was hoping that you could shed some light on.
well, I think certainly, I think it's probably if you read it within the wider context of the report, or rather the report's wider context, the overarching theme in the report is this issue, and I think it is an issue around change fatigue, and that actually we've never really stopped this this continual cycle of change,
That's like
change,
saying I'm tired of
change.
breathing. Like you can't be tired of change. It's not going away. It's
But
not
change
slowing
on a
down.
yeah, but change on a scale that I think we've not I think in the last 10 years we've probably as leaders experienced change on scales that we've not really had to deal with uh continually before, or certainly not for a very, very long time. And I think if you think of it in that context, 77% of leaders are expecting more change. Or 19% think they're
Worse.
going to have at least the same level of change. You
Yeah.
you combine that with economic uncertainty, geopolitical instability, AI disruptions. I think if you think of that within the context of a leadership landscape, then suddenly being able to take uh, to create time and space to reflect. And I think self-reflection is perhaps, I wouldn't necessarily
Is that what
use
they're
that
talking
phrase.
about?
I think reflection, I think so that you can respond and not react, I think is probably the virtue that I
Okay.
would rather
Maybe
see
that's
there
what it
rather than, and perhaps that is what they mean. As I say, it's ambiguous, isn't it? And
it
actually,
is. It is.
what I think what worries me is that ethical decision making was an option. I think you
It
either
was an option. It
that's
was
what I
the
mean.
second.
It
Oh, yeah,
worries
yeah.
me that that was an option that would actually giving people the choice to be ethical in their decision
Or not.
making, or not. Yeah,
That
you know.
let's see, it got 76%, so that means what, 24% did not choose ethical decision
Yeah, so
making.
they're actively not being ethical. Brilliant, fantastic.
Oh, that's funny. That's
But
funny. Well,
reflecting, but self-reflecting on it as they're doing it.
I think of we talk about change and we still speak of it with a negative connotation. And
Yeah, yeah.
I think that is a missed opportunity. For me, every association, whether you are a professional society, you are a trade association, you represent the voice of an industry, I remind my clients all the time, if everyone was happy and comfortable and safe, they wouldn't need their association. They wouldn't need these communities
Mm-hmm.
of knowledge and advocacy.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Um, so, wanting things to be smooth sailing and without risk, I think you basically paint yourself into an unnecessary corner.
Where did you
And
read? Where
change,
Where did you read that? I didn't read anything about not
no, I'm
wanting.
talking about my own thoughts. These are
Oh,
my
okay.
own
Sorry. I beg
thoughts
your pardon. I beg your pardon. I
and
misunderstood.
how I'm tired of change being cast in such a negative light. Change, I
Hmm.
mean, look at the timeline of human history. I mean, change has done some pretty, change has brought us to so many pretty amazing places. And I want change to be seen as an opportunity. I want change to be a place where associations lean in and see themselves as a safe place, a place for their members to come during these storms of change, a place to discuss, to incubate, to attempt to learn from each other. Without change, you have stagnation, and that's the death of an organization.
100%. 100%. I think the rapidity of change now is unprecedented, and I think I agree with you. Change is, change is not a bad thing, and but I think change is viewed with suspicion and trepidation when organizations, associations fail to have the ability, agility and flexibility built into their decision making, and I think that is when change is increasingly unwelcomed. It's not when the change itself is occurring, it's when the mechanisms to facilitate smooth change or to support an organization through tumultuous change, when those structures and culture is lacking, that is when change becomes a scary proposition.
Sure.
Because actually, you're absolutely right. I mean, and the truth of the matter is, I think, all right, small sample, yeah, 350, whatever it is, for through 400 people, businesses have responded, but overwhelmingly, there is the acceptance that change is here to stay. It's constant. What
Of
isn't,
course.
I think, what is the problem? I think for many associations in a leadership context is when they haven't caught up with that in terms of their culture and their structures to facilitate that and to underpin that change. And I think that then means things like the introduction of artificial intelligence are met with not just hesitation, but honestly, I think I'm increasingly seeing quite a lot of hostility toward AI. But really, I think it's just the AI is just it simply reflects another change, and it's a tangible piece that we can be hostile towards.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
defensiveness towards a technology to me demonstrates an organizational insecurity.
100%. Although I
Just an
myself have had
area.
many arguments with ChatGPT.
Oh, I yell at Claude all the time. We get into it. We get into it quite a bit. Um, but it's I don't know. I As I said, there was a lot here that I felt could have been written in the autumn of last year. And the interest and the spending on AI. I mean, 45% of respondents said yes, they were making some investment into AI, with only 10% saying
Yeah,
significant investment.
significant. Yeah, yeah.
And I wonder if we're taking change. I don't think people should take change in a linear chronological sense.
Mm,
If you've missed out, if you're behind the eight ball, you're gonna have to skip ahead. Don't try, it's like having an old iPhone. Don't get the next one, get the newest one. Just skip ahead.
mm.
Just
Yeah. Hmm.
jump over the things that you've missed and jump forward to what's most necessary and relevant now. Don't hold yourself up trying to go through each hoop in order.
Yeah, because leadership's not sequential. That's the
No.
and change is not sequential, and business is not sequential. It's not. Nothing fits in a nice, neat, uh, you know, uh, series of events. Everything is uncertain, and again, and we've spoken about this a lot when we've spoken about our, futures literacy piece.
Yeah.
When we talk about that, I think this is it unwillingness, inability. I'm not sure. I would like to have seen that discussed in this paper. This what I perceive as an unwillingness to accept uncertainty. In fact, just this
Well,
morning, go on, you carry on, go on.
no, I'm reading one of the quotes at the end of the report. Leadership today is about navigating uncertainty while staying grounded in people. And I think it's a recognition that those people and uncertainty are are always going to be the two largest ingredients of the leadership recipe.
And they're constant. They're constant. You say
Correct.
this is a report we could have read last year. It's a report we could have read 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. We'll
How
probably read
dare
the
you?
same
How
one.
dare you?
We'll probably
The
read the
Institute
same
of
one next
Leadership
year.
is the Institute of Leadership is never going to sponsor us now. How dare you? How dare you?
Who says? I know I'd like to bring on a word from our sponsor. Don't read this report. These guys don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, stop, 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 stop. But what was, we talk about people and that, I always talk about the art and the science of strategic planning and the art and the science of association management. I've come to realize that when you're dealing with people, this will always be a malleable, messy thing. Sometimes your organization is going to be better positioned and more capable of adapting to change, and you have to shift into a higher gear when you have the right people. And I'm talking about your board. If you
Mm,
have a great board, you need to get a lot done in that term because there may be a turnover, there may be a shift, and you have less capable or less brave board members, and you're going to get less done. So I think this isn't even about going at change or flexing your leadership muscles at the same rate all the time. I think it's about knowing when you have to push harder because you have the right ingredients at that time.
mm.
There are
I
other
think, yeah.
times you're going to have to manage expectations and you're not going to accomplish as much because you don't have the right players in place.
No, no, I think that's absolutely right. And it's interesting. This report talks about the talent tightrope. I think they call it. The recruitment and retention issues are still. Recruitment is at 50%, retention is at 49% in terms of leaders. Perceive how many respondents perceive this as an issue. And I know that in this report they're talking about staff management, but I think you're absolutely spot on. I think the whole piece around recruitment and retention, the managing the talent pipeline around your volunteer base at board level, absolutely 100%. But I think also more broadly throughout the organization, particularly those organizations whose business model is very heavily reliant on a volunteer workforce. Um, I think within the context of an environment that is one of the constants is change. One of the demands is agility. Another is flexibility. It absolutely requires that we have some stability and some planning around our talent pipeline and managing the people and who are identifying and succession planning for the people who are going to come into
Yeah.
and support the continuation of the mission and the objectives of the organization. I think, again, I can see that very much an issue that that continues at the leadership piece within the association sector internationally.
But when we talk about hiring and we don't have full control over board volunteer leadership pipeline or nominations or elections, things like that. We don't also have control over what candidates we get when we put out a listing, when we put out an opening. And there's all of these assumptions, stereotypes, whatever it may be about the next generation. And oh, they want to save the world. They want a purpose. They want, work-life balance, all these things. And then in this survey, and it was funny because there was a quote in a sidebar, there's been a real shift in expectations over the past decade. People want more than just a job, they're looking for purpose.
Mm,
But then you look at the adjacent chart and
mm,
it says, what would most positively improve your retention efforts? Number one, more money.
yeah.
Number
Yeah.
two, career progression,
Yeah.
meaning more money.
Yeah. Number
It's like
three, learning investment in my learning and development, so I can go and make more money.
make more money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think, yeah, and I think that is, we heard about it. Yeah, you're spot on, actually. I think for me, that's a real nugget that needs to be sort of chipped away at because you're right. And I talk about this a lot with chief execs that I'm working with at the moment. And in the past, who sort of can't get their head around why, maybe there's dissatisfaction or amongst the staff base, and they're hearing messages about, yeah, I want purpose. I want to be part of something more. I want a balance that's not just about cash. I want a balance in terms of my, not just a work-life balance, but how I experience working and how the impact and the influence I can have. But fundamentally, yeah, people just want
So
more money and they want better
eh,
holiday pay and they want better benefits and they want
money.
and they want money and they don't want your problems and they want you to solve their problems. Um, you know,
Well, and I was thinking about, you're a big proponent for a 4-day work week,
I am,
and
yeah.
we've talked about that over the years. It was funny, a reduced working week came in, God, eighth or ninth on the list, with only 17% saying that that would positively improve their retention efforts. So, as an employer, as someone who does an executive search now and then, it's just such a hodgepodge. It makes me feel like it's never going to be easy to figure out the current talent pool, or ensure with any science or any certainty that a fit is the right one. And maybe it shouldn't be easy. Finding the right people for the right roles and giving them what they need and helping them be satisfied, and getting
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you need
yeah,
out of them.
yeah.
Maybe that relationship isn't supposed to be easy, but with the pace of change, people are changing, and yet at the same time they're not changing.
Well,
They're
yeah,
still
exactly, exactly. Well, because the thing is as well, the pace of change, we've all still got to pay our bills. Yeah, we've all still got to live, and it's interesting. It's funny because actually, I wonder if also as you were talking there and thinking if recruitment and retention is an issue, I wonder how many, and this report doesn't go into it, but how many leaders are still viewing recruitment and retention in a very traditional process driven activity. We need a job, write the JD, here's the job description, here's the person spec, here's the advert, out you go, come in for an interview. You performed well, you didn't perform well, and that's it. Oh, and by the way, these are the terms and conditions. Boom. But what you've said there in terms of it's not easy, so why not? If it's not easy, why not make it at least be not easy, but highly, highly responsive and reflective
yeah,
of the individual that you are recruiting? Because actually, yeah, if I walk in the door and say, actually, and this really not upset me, troubles me actually, that way, way down on that list of what would help positively improve your retention efforts, way down with only 8% was an enhanced pension. Now, I don't know about the US, but the pensions crisis in the UK, the pensions crisis in the UK is massive.
yeah,
And so actually, or will be. Um, and so, but again, these things are all these are all quite a traditional sort of shopping list of what I see on
yeah,
a job on a job advert. But actually, yeah, if someone turns around and says, "Well, actually, I'm okay with the salary, but what I'd really want is have that conversation as part of the
yeah,
recruitment process." That's to my mind is where standout leadership stands out. Is
yeah, yeah.
you're more responsive and reflective. Let's go with that self-reflection theme. More
There you
reflective
go.
of who you're looking at, who you're
Yeah,
talking to, who you're engaging with, rather than simply who can fit us, how can we fit them?
yeah. Well, and that comes through the last piece of this. They talk about leadership and success in leadership. What does success look like? So for the number one thing was employee engagement. And I want to believe that, that people want their teams to be fulfilled. They want their teams to care and be engaged. What concerned me when people defined what success looked like to them, and maybe this reiterates what we've talked about in the past about burnout, not around change, but burnout around forced innovation. Innovation came in ninth on the list.
Yeah,
Ninth
because
out of
people,
12, by the
yeah,
way.
people are tired.
Uh,
People are tired.
so I have no problem with change. And I think change is something we all need to be continuously prepared for, see as an opportunity whenever possible. But this forced innovation, this
Yeah.
keeping up with the tech Joneses, this pitting against each other as to who has the biggest, newest, maybe riskiest idea. I think forced innovation and that peer pressure, the innovation peer pressure is more exhausting. And that's what really bore out to me in that last piece of the report.
And when I've run workshops and about this recently, it's really resonating with association leaders is this constant, what they perceive as this constant demand or expectation that they should be innovative, creative, as you say, keeping up with the tech Joneses, is actually exhausting. And yes, as leaders, but arguably as employees as well, it's disengaging them because you're trying to encourage employee engagement, team productivity, team development in a context that you find as a whole team utterly exhausting. Because actually, sometimes and I think this is a really underrated. And I want us to do a better podcast, a longer podcast on this piece. But I actually think sometimes business as usual is a highly undervalued and underrated skill, delivering business
Uh-oh.
as usual.
Uh-oh.
And
Did you,
this is me and my hobby horse about strategic foresight. And and actually how I actually think it's a big it's as big a blocker to change as it is an enabler for innovation. But we can get onto that in a future
Well,
episode.
I was just there's a sentence in this article, and I can't find it at the moment, but where it says business as usual is over. Business as usual is
No.
dead.
And that, to my mind, business as usual is what keeps the lights on. And I think it is an act of self-sabotage by leadership to dismiss business as usual. Even if change is your business as usual, you still have to acknowledge it as thus. And if you pretend that somehow supporting your members on a day-to-day basis with their day-to-day needs is somehow secondary to bedazzling them with the latest AI innovation chatbot, then you are doing them and your organization a
Yeah.
massive disservice. And as I say, it is an act of massive self-sabotage.
Yeah. All right. So there's a key word in the quote that I didn't appropriately deliver. It says there's no room for any complacent business as usual if a
Fair enough.
leadership strategy
Fair
is to
enough.
succeed. Okay. So
I got
now
no
now
problem with
you're
that. I
you're
got no
in
problem
line.
with that.
Okay.
Complacency, I agree. Complacency is so is well. Complacency and leadership are the complete opposite of they are not
Correct.
good bedfellows. But I maintain that this piece around I think we are beginning to see an no, I'm not even beginning. I think we're seeing a battle between business as usual and the need to sustain and retain members' expectations and their memberships. I think we are seeing a battle between this just external. I don't even think it's external. External to an organization, but internal to our industry, the membership
Yeah.
sector. This constant sort of expectation and demand that we should always be doing something fantastical the moment I wake up in the morning till the moment I go to sleep at night.
Which I don't
Otherwise,
think
I'm
that
not a
demand
leader.
comes from the members. The members
No,
don't
it
want
doesn't.
that.
It doesn't come from the members. You're absolutely spot on
Where
there,
is this
Lise. It
coming
doesn't.
from?
I think it comes from. I think it comes from networks. I think it comes from sector networks across the world who are trying to continually deliver their value to their members, association
Well, and to
professionals.
sell registrations to
To
innovation conferences
exactly,
and all the
exactly.
like. And yes.
And I think particularly if you think if we think in a US context at the moment, the it is a tumultuous environment at the moment, and I would argue uh, sustaining your business as usual without being complacent about it, of course, but sustaining your business as usual is probably the best thing right now, rather than going off on some
Right,
major
right. When I think of that,
investment.
I hear nose to the grindstone, lean into your superpowers, what you're really good at. Don't
Absolutely,
over
absolutely.
diversify. Don't
Yeah,
dilute your resources or your strengths. So I'm in
yeah,
support of
yeah,
your
yeah.
pro business as usual foundation.
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 That's it. Foundation. Absolutely. You
Okay.
cannot neglect it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll share this report with everyone. And if you have other, I know other consultants and other groups are always sending us white papers and research and reports that they're doing. Please continue to do that. We obviously will debate it and dissect it with no bias, even if it's written by a friend. But
Well,
we'll
I
tell
am.
you what we really think.
I should disclose. I am a member of the Institute of Leadership. I have been for many, 10 years, but
Did you
uh,
respond to the survey?
I never even saw it come out. I never even saw the. I don't think it was. I don't think the survey went to members, did it? I think it went.
No. Who else would they survey?
Well, I don't know.
Let's
It
see.
said they went to.
Research, a survey was conducted among 350 respondents from
Yeah, I
across a
think.
range of organizations, from small and medium enterprises through to national and international corporations.
No, they may well have, but I never saw.
But you're right,
I
they did
never saw
not use
anything.
the
Yeah.
word members. The report offers a different insight from a range of IOL members who are experiencing the challenges and opportunities facing leadership. So
Yeah.
uncertain as to who was invited. But
Hmm.
anyway, some good tidbits in there, some things that can spawn conversation around your peer groups and in
Yeah. But I think you make,
chats with your other friends.
I think you made a good point at the start of the, well, you made many good points, but I think a
Oh,
good
thank
point you
you.
made at the top of the episode is that I think if you read this, there wasn't, I didn't look at it and think it was completely alien to the association sector. I wasn't looking at this
No,
thinking, oh my God,
we're
this
in
doesn't
these
look
same
anything like it
conversations.
actually, I think if there's something to take heart from, to take strength from, is that actually in the non-profit world, in the membership world, we are all still dealing with many of the same issues and
Yeah,
opportunities that leaders in the wider for-profit environment all over the world
yeah,
are grappling with. So
yeah,
that's an
yeah.
important
Well,
takeaway for me.
I will thank the Institute of Leadership for undertaking this research and providing this report. We appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Keep driving the conversations around leadership and helping those leaders serve their missions, whether they be for profit or nonprofit. We appreciate it, and we'll continue these conversations around change and innovation and
Mhm.
business as usual. Have we decided what our next white paper is going to be on yet?
Oh, I've got it written down on a post-it note.
That's so innovative of
I'm
you.
so
So
innovative. I
ed
wrote it
tech.
down in pencil, just in case we changed our mind. I could rub it out. Um, but
Oh, this is how we work.
we'll have a chat. Let's have a chat about this one.
Okay.
I think we did decide this, but let's just
I
discuss it
think we did
before I
too. We'll have to
announce
go
it.
back and
Yeah,
listen a
yeah,
few episodes back. But
yeah.
until then, put your members and your mission first.